Imagine a world where the world's richest individuals accumulate their wealth, beyond the reach of governments, taxmen, and the general public. A hidden world where trillions of dollars are sucked into thin air, shielded by impenetrable barriers of secrecy and loopholes in the law. If you imagine the world's richest individuals storing their cash in ordinary bank accounts like everyone else, think again. Because this is where the super rich play by a completely different set of rules. They don't stash their billions in safes or Swiss bank accounts anymore. No, they've found even more sophisticated and impenetrable ways to keep their wealth hidden from the world. And what's shocking, these financial hideouts aren't just remote islands with palm trees and secret vaults. Some of them are right in front of us, in places you'd never expect. If you find this sounding like something out of a Hollywood film, well, yes, it does. But the reality is even more incredible. This is the dark, secret world of offshore finance, secret trusts, and shadowy loopholes that only the privileged few have access to. And once you realize how far down this rabbit hole goes, you'll never view money in the same light again. Let's be real. The world's wealthiest individuals do not pay taxes like you do. For everyone else, taxes are inevitable. Your paycheck is taxed before you even receive it. You pay taxes when you shop for groceries, when you gas up your car, even when you pass away. There's no way out. But for billionaires, taxes are voluntary. Rather than receiving a salary, they keep their money hidden in investments, assets, and offshore accounts structured so that governments cannot get their hands on them. While tax policy is tight for regular folks, the super rich employ accountants and lawyers whose only purpose is to ensure they contribute as little as possible. But how do they manage it? The key is offshore tax havens, specific places on the planet where the wealthy can legally hide their cash, conceal their identities, and keep it all totally private. Let's see where the world's richest actually stash their cash. Number 1. The Cayman Islands. Picture a nation with no corporate taxes, no income taxes, and no capital gains taxes. Too good to be true, right? Welcome to the Cayman Islands, a billionaire's paradise. This little Caribbean heaven boasts over 100,000 registered corporations, despite having a population of around 65,000 individuals. That is to say, there are more corporations than individuals. Why? Because the Cayman Islands specialize in offshore banking, allowing the ultra-rich to stash enormous amounts of cash without declaring it anywhere. It's legal as can be, and best of all, totally secret. Major corporations have all utilized the Cayman Islands in an effort to not pay billions in taxes. And don't think it's just large companies. Billionaires, celebrities, and even crooked politicians have been caught stashing cash here. And if you're wondering how much money is actually hidden in the Cayman Islands, the answer is mind-blowing. Over trillions. Yes, trillion, with a T. Number 2. Switzerland. Switzerland has been the gold standard for wealth concealment for decades. Swiss banks boast some of the world's most stringent privacy laws, so if a billionaire needs to make their money disappear, Switzerland is the place to do it. In fact, until recently, Swiss banks would not even disclose the names of their clients, which is why billionaires, dictators, and drug lords all stashed their cash here. Despite international pressure having led Switzerland to modify some of its legislation, it still retains an estimated $2.4 trillion in offshore assets. That's right, trillions of dollars just sitting in Swiss vaults, protected by laws that make it almost impossible to track. If you've ever wondered why billionaires never seem to go broke, this is why. Number 3. The United States. Now here's where things get really shocking. When you hear tax havens, you see tropical islands or small European countries in your head. But one of the largest tax havens in the world is the United States. Believe it or not, yes, you heard it correctly. The US is always criticizing offshore tax havens, but in fact, it is one of the largest tax havens on Earth. States such as Delaware, Nevada, and South Dakota have legislation that makes them ideal for concealing money. There are over 1 million registered companies in Delaware alone, many of which are nothing more than paper companies. Why? Because you can form a company without ever disclosing who the real owner is. This means billionaires, corporations, and even criminals can keep their money within US banks, all while remaining entirely anonymous. Yes, the US government is quick to point fingers at tax havens, but it's one of the largest participants in the game. So you may be wondering, if all of this is going on, why don't governments just do something about it? The reality? They don't want to. Because the people writing the laws, many of them profit off these very same loopholes. Politicians, CEOs, and even some of the globe's most influential leaders all utilize these tax havens for themselves. They can close these loopholes, but why would they? They're taking in billions off of the same system that keeps everyone else barely able to make ends meet. And when governments attempt to crack down, billionaires just shift their money elsewhere. It's a never-ending cat-and-mouse game. Only in this game the billionaires win. Now you may be thinking, what's the big deal? If the wealthy want to keep their money hidden, why should I care? Here's why. That lost money should be paying for schools, hospitals, and public services. Instead, trillions of dollars just sit in offshore accounts while everyone else suffers. Consider it. While tax-evading billionaires get richer, ordinary people have to deal with soaring healthcare bills, huge student loan burdens, devastating government budget, and if these were to be actually paid by the ultra-rich that which they should, the planet would be totally different. And yet, the poor remain poor and the rich get richer, and this gap is getting wider and wider day by day. At the end of the day, the system isn't broken. It's built this way. The super rich never play by the rules. They don't have to. They've created a financial system that makes their wealth unreachable with the rest of us footing the bill. And governments are chattering on about combating tax evasion when they're actually letting it run unchecked behind closed doors. Because they gain from it too. But now you know the truth. If you find all of this shocking, yes, it is. And unless there is a change, this cycle will never cease. What do you think about this never-ending cycle, or will it eventually change someday? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you liked this deep dive, give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe for more surprising content ahead.